Dinosaurs never existed. Thoughts? Discuss.
Why does it have to be? Like, why is it so important? Now, some of you guys would think that I'm not saved if I don't say
Ruslan.
Christian conspiracy theories that are often far too common and the root of how people slide into this. In my previous video on the main Ruslan KD channel, I talked about how sometimes some Christians take a hyper-literal view of Scripture, and then that allows them to slide into other things, that allows them to be at odds with science. And I pointed out how sometimes it's just on a surface level of a difference of opinion, like young earth creationism, right? Literal 6 day of creation, where they look at Genesis 1 as if it's a textbook. Now, I don't have any problem if that's what you believe. You believe what you believe. I've been fairly straightforward that I personally am.
Okay. This is a reaction to Ruslan about this girl, chick, Ali Beth Stuckey, says that dinosaurs don't exist, and wish they do, but Ruslan's he's saying some other things too. They don't exist, and they but she's saying something else, that Genesis or no, they exist, but they don't exist. But she's saying that about Genesis. But, anyways, I was something about well, I'll just play the video and see.
I'm not a young earth creationist. I'm also not an evolutionist or anything like that, but I don't think science and Christianity have to.
He's not a creationist and an evolutionist. This guy is part of the powers that be anyways. Ruslan. How could he be an evolutionist and I don't know. So he believes in well, he doesn't believe in neither. I don't understand. Either one or the other. You are evolutionist or a creationist. And, for me, I'm kind of I believe in the evolution of other like things, like lower species. In the microform there's an evolution, probably, yeah. In terms of a big advance, like experience of us and other like larger species, like big, another like man, for instance. There's not really proof of in that wide scale, that big scale, like man's evolution, like from apes, from lower apes. This is just a theory, but there's a missing link. That's why they call it the missing link. You know, it's Ruslan.
To be incompatible. When you think it is incompatible, and when you start believing the preconceived notion and the presupposition
that we're man's from lower apes, actually. There's no link to it, like from an ape, like one species. But there's no link. There's another link before that. It's just a theory that there's no. What they say is a proof, but substantially there's no. That's why they call it a theory. But now they're saying it's essentially proof. Like scholars are saying that, but it really should be still a theory. But they haven't really. There's no like missing link. There's no link to it, like push the whole puzzle together. But they show there's some here and there. Ardipithecus and Australopithecus and other species of the hominids. They discovered so-called, they discovered bones. They're supposed to be apes, like lower species, like evolve into humans, certain, evolve into what do you call it? What the name of the other hominids? The other hominids besides Neanderthals and what do you call Neanderthals and Homo erectus. Neanderthals, Homo erectus, Peking man, all that, those are hominids. Before that there was an ape, low ape before that apparently evolved into that, into all those species of humans, pre-humans. Anyways.
It has to be incompatible. Well, you start sliding into some sloppy thinking, should I say. You start questioning things like NASA. You start questioning if the world is really round or if it's flat. And the most obvious and the most egregious that I've recently seen is this conversation on if dinosaurs are real.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. And so I wanted to point out to
they're real, but let me go ahead.
A fairly big influencer and her attesting to the idea that she's not sure if dinosaurs were real. So I'm just going to take her at her word, and we're going to hear her out and see what she thinks. Now, again, I'm just connecting that it's a type of thinking that can get people to slide in. So here's a creator that many of you guys are probably familiar with. Her name is Ali Beth Stuckey. She seems like a sweet young lady who loves Jesus. She even went to debate Candace Owens' husband on Protestantism versus Catholicism, and she leans more Calvinistic, from my understanding. And
Calvinist.
They did a video called "I Don't Know If Dinosaurs Were Real." So I just wanted to show you guys this so that we get an idea that there are people, believe it or not, who believe this sort of stuff. All right, real quick, Trey, thank you for the super chat. Do you know of answers in Genesis? Do I know of answers in Genesis? I don't know what you're asking. All right, so let's hear her out, and you guys can decide kind of how to process this.
I'll just drop this and let y'all discuss what you think. This is a theory, okay? I'm just gonna say this.
It's a theory, Ali, respect, just like evolution is a theory, respect. Let's hear her out.
Dinosaurs never existed.
See, if they're, you said if the only you'd be, yep. Evolution is a theory. It's not like I said.
Thoughts, discuss.
Well, I saw
Shit doesn't exist. Dinosaurs.
a picture, I think Elijah Shaver tweeted this out. And
Of a
maybe you've seen this
dinosaur?
too. No, there was a picture of like a dinosaur skeleton, and it was a meme, and it was like the skeleton, like how scientists would draw it, what it actually looked like. And it was like, you could superimpose like a dinosaur skeleton on like a chicken. And so he was pointing out, I think he was pointing out like, the scientists are pretty sure that's what they look like, but we don't have like a photo of one,
Yeah.
Well, obviously we don't have a photo of one. Yeah, we have a photo of one, and they do say that the descendant of dinosaurs is chicken.
Okay, see, that's a perfect example of like what I'm talking about. That okay, so you've got these bones, you've got these fossils, supposedly, and they supposedly date back millions of years. And then I think it's a bunch of nerds constructing this fantasy world that they think is awesome. Like, how do you know what the like skin of a pterodactyl looked like? How do you know what it sounded like? Like,
Well, we don't know, Ali. We could just go off of the evidence that we do have. In the same way, we don't know that exactly Jesus died and where exactly he rose. We don't know. We don't know these things. In order to, any reasonable apologist would say the same thing about Christianity. Hey, we don't. The only way to prove Christianity is true is that you would have to find a time machine and take a camera with you to go back 2,000 years and show that Jesus died and was dead, and then bodily rose from the grave and was alive, and then ascended to heaven. We don't know. But that doesn't mean we can't have a faith that is beyond a reasonable doubt. We can.
I don't know. I think there's evidence that it did exist. And I think he's wrong there. But anyways,
Have faith, that's beyond a reasonable doubt, and go, wait a minute, we don't know, but we can have a degree of confidence, which is, I believe, faith is a confidence spectrum, that Jesus is who he says he is, and that he died, and then he rose from the dead. So, I would look at it that way, all right? I only have a master's degree in biology, so I'm actually...
just like this, there's evidence of there's a God. Anyways, we all know that. So you can just faith there is a God, but there is evidence that there is a God. There is a creator. So he's kind of, I don't know. he's not making a good argument.
What I did, my thesis on how the creationists and evolutionists agree that it was a flood. Well, there we go. Okay. That's awesome. They agree on something. Yeah. All right, we got Singapore in the house. Okay. So let's get back to but you guys notice that when it comes to things that require a degree of confidence in the evidence, folks in the fundamentalist space or that lean more fundamentalist, I have no problem with that, but then when it comes to having a degree of faith in things that come to the evidence is this skepticism, hyper skepticism like this.
How do you know those things really, and like the different color patterns and all of that? How are you picking that up from bones? Now, some people, I don't think I would go so far as to say this, but some people say it's a grand conspiracy against like young Earth creationism, which says that the Earth is like 6,000 years old.
Darkness. Darkness.
And obviously God created it, that they tried to like use that as, no, the Earth is like billions of years old and like we've evolved over time, yada yada. I don't know.
Why couldn't have God created the Earth old? Why couldn't have God created the Earth and the days we see as
I don't know. Billions of years old? Yeah. I don't know. But a carbon dating, what have they used? So the way they date they do this, carbon dating and all these other things, is not precisely accurate as you think it is. But she's not that wrong, actually. I agree with her a little bit. We think it's billions of years old, but do we really know for sure? They had a carbon dating. I guess certain things have a half-life, but I guess they go so, I think they go so far back with the atomic what do they call the atomic the radioactive isotopes. That's how they do it too. The name of the half-life, I think they go by that too. That's kind of like carbon dating is, and they go by the half-life. And if you want to go far, you go only so far back, and then there's speculation they use kind of to dictate this, dictating calculations. I mean, it's kind of speculative in the way they do it. It's,
Days, one literal 24 hours.
Know about all that. But if I were to pick like a theory, I'm like, I could see dinosaurs not being real. I don't know. And I don't know about the moon. I mean, I used to say, oh yeah, for sure. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's some credence to that. What about flat Earth? Anyone?
No.
So we went from dinosaurs.
No, flat Earth. Debunked. She's wrong. The Earth is round. If it's flat, how could you? Why there's no edge? You won't fall off the Earth. There's no explanation for that. And there's a curvature. You can see a curve when you go high enough. There's a curvature. There's actually a curve. You'll see it if you go. So you can see it. The pilots go high enough. You see a curve.
Dinosaurs not being real because of young Earth creationism, the moon landing probably not happening, and now we're on flat Earth.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75%.
I don't necessarily know either way. I think we did though, but I don't know. You never know.
You never know.
I used to be like, oh, we totally win. Scientific.
Scribe. Please
And so now it's not so much that I've seen evidence that we didn't go. I'm just like,
Cation on so that you don't miss anything we have going.
Me neither.
the thing
Yeah.
with the moon, where my dial has moved, I used to be like, oh, we totally win. Scientists, they totally did it. And so now it's not so much that I've seen evidence that we didn't go. I'm just like, now I don't trust the government to tell me the truth. And I wouldn't put them past it to fake it. But
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe, or, that doesn't mean that I believe that they did. I just wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily know either way. I think we did though, but I don't know. You never know.
You never. That's the thing, is that you never know.
There's an example of pretty well said. Now, my question to the young Earth creationists would just simply be, why does it have to be a literal 6 days of creation? Why does it have to be that? Like, why is it so important? Now, some of you guys would think that I'm not saved if I don't say to your view of a literal 6 day creation. Why does it have to be 6 days? Why couldn't have those days been millions and billions of years?
You're saved. You're saved by grace. We're saved by grace. By the cross. Sacrifice on the cross. That's what we're saved by.
Why couldn't have God made the earth old? Why can't gap theory be a thing? Why does it have to be a literal 6 day period? And why is it so important to you? I'm genuinely curious. And by the way, I've watched all the debates. I've seen Michael Jones debate against with the young Earth creators. I've watched all of them. Why does it have to be that way? And why do you assume that Genesis 1 is a scientific breakdown and not, most scholars throughout time have viewed it as more of a poetic breakdown? I'm curious, right? So that would be the way I
Scientific breakdown. I never thought of it as a poetic breakdown. I think it's partly scientific breakdown, but there's something. It's not telling the whole story in that sense. It's about what Cain's wife. Cain's wife. Where did Cain's wife come from? The land of Nod. So actually there are people before Adam and Eve. So it's not really. There's people there before the Garden of Eden, and it's not telling the whole story, but it's scientific. I don't think it's poetic, and I don't know. I think it's scientific. It's in certain ways, but maybe it could be poetic. Maybe.
I would just pose those questions. I don't have the answers for you guys. Just say, hey, we have a degree of confidence in certain information beyond a reasonable doubt. And I believe what the scriptures say, and I'll show you guys a verse that kind of guides my thinking about this. And maybe you guys disagree with this verse, which is fine. You can disagree. You can disagree with this verse. But if you read the entire scriptures, this theme is repeated throughout all the scriptures. Okay? Repeatedly in all of the scriptures. Whether the children of Israel are in exile, whether the Babylonians take captives.
And I agree with him with this.
Whether they're in Egypt.
What he's about to say.
However, this theme is repeated throughout all scripture. You guys ready? The earth is the Lord's and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
The world and all its people
It's in Psalms.
belong to him. For he laid the earth's foundations on the seas and built it on the ocean depths. So what this verse is saying, and this is, again, I go through all the scriptures, all of it, New Testament, Old Testament, is this idea that God is God, and God is ultimately in control. And God is ultimately in control, and the earth is his. The world is his, right? The world is his. So if the world belongs to God, and the people in the world belong to God, and the earth and all of this belongs to God, that means that Jesus is on the throne now. He's there now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Jack with Rentals.ca. I couldn't dream
Oh, Lord.
of a living without my beloved Matt.
On the throne, and according to Ephesians, the earth is his footstool. And so I think some of you guys need this, because I think some of us have really veered off course with our worldview and just assume that God's on vacation and he just let the enemy do whatever he wants to do, and so the enemy controls NASA and the enemy controls everything. The enemy just got it all, and God's on vacation. He's taking a nap. Well, that's not what the scriptures say. So here's the first verse. Psalm 24. And by the way, this is in 1 Corinthians 15. This is everywhere. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him. For he laid the earth's foundation on the seas and built it on the depths of the ocean. Now check this out. Check out what Ephesians 1 says. This is so dope. This is so good. Check this out. It's Ephesians 1 verse 19. This is Paul writing to the church in Ephesus. I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe in him. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead and seated him in the place of honor at God's right hand in the heavenly realms. Now he is far above any ruler or authority or power or leader or anything else. Not only in this world, but also in the world to come. Jesus is above any ruler or authority or power or leader or anything else, not in this world, but also in the world to come. I would say Jesus is far above any conspiracy, any institution, any organization, any cabal, any Illuminati. He is far above all of it. He is far above all of it. And
Illuminati. Isn't that a pickle? Illuminati. Who's in the Illuminati nowadays?
if we go back and we let Scripture interpret Scripture, the earth is the Lord's. That word Lord's right there is Yahweh. Okay? And if we read Hebrews 1, Jesus is Yahweh. Okay? Everything in it. The earth and all the world belong to him. He is far above any ruler or any power or any leader or anything else, not only in this world, but in the world to come. Now check this out. It gets better, friends. And God has put all things under the authority of Christ, and has made him head over all things for the benefit of the church. Every institution for the benefit of the church. Music too. Science too. All of it. And the church is his body. It is made full and complete, who fills all things everywhere with himself. So friends, we don't got to be afraid of science. You don't got to be afraid of NASA. You don't got to be afraid of physics. You don't got to, right? Like, what are we doing? Christ is seated on the throne now. He is above all power and authority now. In this world. Here and now. And whatever authority, influence, Satan has as the God of this world is on low.
See, he's the God of this world, but Most High of the power. He's the Most High. It's like God, the Most High. That's why it's the Most High. And he's just what I guess God allows, the Most High allows Satan to be the ruler of this world. And, but the Most High does it for a time being until the end.
Belong to him is very limited in scope.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
And he doesn't have infinite authority, nor is he God in the sense that he is not omnipresent. He's not all-knowing. He's not all-present. He's not all
Yep, you're right about that.
powerful. That is not what Satan is, yet Jesus is. Okay? So, I'm not afraid of any lizard people. I'm not afraid of NASA. I'm not afraid of science. I'm not...
The lizard people, aliens. Aliens, well, that's a deception anyways. I think that's a deception, the aliens, so-called aliens. When he mentions lizard people.
not afraid of dinosaur fossils. I'm not afraid of anyone trying to trick me because Jesus is on the throne right now. The earth is the Lord's and everything. So I don't have to navigate and think that this world has some big approach to try and trick me into believing the earth is old, because if I start believing the earth is old, then I don't take Genesis literally, Genesis 1 literally, then I'm going to stop taking the rest of the Bible literally, and then I'm going to walk away from the faith, right? I don't got to live my life that way. I can go, okay, Genesis 1 says God created the heavens and the earth. I believe that. Science also has some other things that seem compelling and have evidence. I could believe that as well. Assuming that everything is
How could you believe two things, I guess? I don't know. Usually both it could be called theories. I mean, the Big Bang Theory, and then there's this, and there's Genesis. I guess you could have two beliefs, I guess.
about the Matrix and they trying to get you and trick you. I just think that's a trash way.
We'll take you to Europe and take care of it.
No commercial.
To exhibit theology on this side of eternity, considering that we see this all throughout Scripture. I can show you verse after verse after verse that echo this over and over, that echo this over and over. I mean, all of Ephesians 1 is about Jesus being on the throne. And I think this is why we are where we are in terms of Christians lacking influence in culture, is because we ran from the cities, we moved away from the places where we had influence, we moved away from the institutions, which, by the way, Christians established, all of our Ivy League schools, we moved away from all these institutions, we got scared, we moved, and it was the fundamentalists that influenced us. We gave up music.
You read about that. They created all, even the school, the concept of, in a sense, in the Western world, I guess in the Western world, school came from Christianity, like in the Western world. Anyways.
We gave up the arts, we gave up media.
School, like education.
All the areas we used to trailblaze in, we checked out. And then you wonder why we look around and Hollywood is so anti-God. Well, we think Hollywood is evil, which then prevents Christians from wanting to go into that line of work with media, which then continues making evil content, which then continues keeping Christians out of the content. We've given it all up on this presupposition that they're trying to pull one over on you, which is more tied into not biblical thinking, not what the historical church has done, but in the last 100 years of this fringe fundamentalism. We need to go back into this.
Well, he's right about that. Fundamentalist church and the Christian far right has really taken Christianity way far. we out of step, out of mind. There has to be some logic. I mean, you know, and God is not against some logic. You know, I mean, wisdom has to be wisdom. It says wisdom in the Bible, anyways. Who would choose wisdom? Certain verses. When that, you know, I mean,
cities, go back into the culture, go back into media, go back into the arts. And you need to be equipped and prayed up to go into those areas and do your thing. Stop living your life walking on eggshells. Get right with Jesus, work out your junk, get therapy if you need therapy, become competent, and go into the marketplace of ideas. And be present there. Be present in the marketplace of ideas. Shout out to Jasper. He says, if you're afraid that you'll apostatize due to a non-literal view of Genesis, you've got bigger problems than NASA.
huh.
Got bigger problems than NASA on your hands. I would agree, Jasper. I think that's a W take.
And folks, that's my reaction to this video by Ruslan about Ali Bet Stuckey. She said it's conspiracy and that there's a dinosaur is a conspiracy. There's no such thing, it's made up, it's fantasy. I think she got it wrong. She's wrong, but she had said that dinosaurs existed, but they were like millions of years ago. She doesn't believe it's millions of years ago, but thousands of years. And she could say that like they were here, like hundreds of years ago they're here. She could say that, but there's evidence, but some evidence that they were like, it wasn't like millions of years ago. But I think that they were here millions of years ago, or so-called, or whatever. But and all of them were extinct, or are extinct. They weren't, to me, maybe they weren't all extinct millions of years ago. Maybe there's some are here, but there's sightings of certain, in medieval times, there's dragons. In some cultures there's dragons. And beasts, great beasts, even in the oceans. You can't explain that. How come there's so many accounts of that? They're fables, but there's something there. There's fiction, but the fact is fiction comes from fact in a way. Some facts come from fictions, come from facts. There's some grain of truth in there. So something is up about that. Maybe there were dinosaurs. There still exist. But I think that's her way is kind of twisted. Like there was no dinosaurs, but there were dinosaurs. Maybe there still are. Who knows? Anyways, that's it, folks. That's my reaction to this video, and I'm out.